This podcast is for informational purposes only and does not provide medical advice. Always consult your physician or other qualified health provider with any medical questions and never delay care because of something you hear on this podcast. Welcome to Prostate Cancer Real Talk. Did you know that 1 out of 8 U.S. men will be affected by prostate cancer? And Black men are 50% more likely to be diagnosed and twice as likely to die from it. Meet Ellen Shea, a married couple impacted by prostate cancer who have faced it, fought it, and defeated it. Join in now where we answer questions, share personal stories, and fellowship in our safe, judgment-free space. Expert guests include urologists, surgeons, researchers, counselors, nutritionists, patients with their families, and more. If you or someone you know has been impacted by prostate cancer, you've found a welcoming place for information and support. In this episode, we welcome Shannon and Tony Mekeel, a couple that has been impacted by prostate cancer. In December 2022, Tony was diagnosed with a PSA score of 26, and that's compared to the normal range of less than 4. They chose brachytherapy radiation and androgen deprivation, a hormone therapy which, like other prostate cancer treatments, affects a couple's intimacy. Tony's diagnosis and the struggle of dealing with all of life's stressors led Shannon to quit her job and author several books about her experiences in this new role. Shannon and Tony have graciously agreed to share their experiences with us today. Ellen Shea, take it away.
One of the things that you and I talked about, Shannon, when we had our great discussion, was the time that you spend with other women, okay, other wives, partners, and some of the different perspectives that they have. Can you share with us what some of those conversations have been? And then, you know, we'd like for you to kind of be an advisor, so to speak, for women who may be going through this, or, you know, caretakers, partners, what have you, wives. What advice would you give them? So could you answer that question for us?
Yeah, thank you for asking it. It's an important question. I felt from the onset that I didn't have the support that I needed. And so for one of our appointments, one of our first appointments together at Moffitt, I filled out I was like, he's dealing with the doctor, and I filled out some of his inpatient paperwork, and it was on an iPad, and filled out, yes, I am depressed. I put it up to advocate for him. And then, yes, we would like to have a conversation with a social worker. And so before we pulled out of the hospital, we had a phone call. He had a phone call because it was his phone number. It was his paperwork. And I said, yeah, we need a social worker. And he says, absolutely not. We don't need a social worker. And I said, I need a social worker.
Typical guy.
Yep. So we ended up finding a counselor on our own. It was a counselor that I had several years back that I re-enlisted, and we had a lot of really good success with that. I didn't feel like I had the support that I needed. My friend network in our community, we were living in the Tampa Bay area, and we had moved there during COVID. So I didn't have a really strong friend network. I had people that I just met, people that didn't really know who I was. And they were meeting me as a stressed out mom from COVID, because our son had to have open heart surgery right before the pandemic. And so he couldn't get COVID. So we really isolated. So I didn't have a lot of friends, and neither did Tony. And we've always been each other's best friends since we've been together. And I was trying to take care of him, but there were times where I was like, I got to talk to somebody about this. Like, I'm going to explode. Like, what should I do? How should I act? What level of care is appropriate? Like, I don't want to emasculate him, and he's feeling like crap and emotional and on a roller coaster of emotions because his hormones are flexing. So I just felt like dust in the wind. I didn't have the people that I needed who really knew me, who would really support me. And my son, our middle son, was 22, and he was a great source of help, just to kind of bounce things off of. But then again, do you really want to talk to your kid about all of that stuff?
Mm-hmm, right.
So we ended up getting our youngest out to his dad after graduation, and that worked out to be a beautiful thing. He needed that time with his dad. Tony has been the step-up father for the past 12 years, and the best stepdad my kids could have ever had. And I'll never be able to repay him. You know, he stepped up financially and emotionally, and he was the guy that always showed up to every game. And, you know, I just have such a huge amount of respect for who he is and what he's meant to our family. And to have that just melt in front of me at different varying levels every day, I was like, who are you today? That's why the number system seemed to work. It was like I'm like, how do you feel? And he'd be like, a 5. I'm like, okay, so want some water? And he'd be like, I'm like, how do you feel? He's like, I'm a 4. I'm like, take a nap. And he'd say, I'm a 2. Like,
you have a
like,
number in
there's
the
a sandwich. So I had friends in the neighborhood. I feel like I burnt through them pretty quickly because I was manic and I was scared and I was sad, you know, and I didn't know what to do. And I didn't have a support network. I just felt like my husband was disappearing in front of my eyes, and it was tough. And I found some women online. Fans for the Cure is one that's really good. That's a support group, but they only meet once a month online. So I've gone to 1 or 2 of those, which has been good.
The thing about prostate cancer is you can talk to 100 different guys that have it, and their treatment plan is 100 different ways.
Mm-hmm.
There's no consistency in the treatment of prostate cancer, which makes it even more difficult when you're trying to research, you know, things to do.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, all. Pfizer is running a series of clinical trials called MEVPRO that are researching a potential novel targeted treatment for metastatic prostate cancer. If you or someone that you know may be interested in learning more, check out www.mevpro-studies.com. That's MEVPRO-studies.com. I have a follow-up question for Tony. Tony, one of the experiences that I had when I was diagnosed, and that is when you start, and I don't know if you did this or not, but I open up. You know, I talk to guys. If I go to a party or something like that, and the topic comes up, I will mention the fact that what we're doing with this prostate thing. And what I have found is that once I open up and reveal that I'm dealing with this condition, it's just real common. I mean, you know, guys, oh yeah, you know, there was one guy was a gentleman I used to report to, you know, at work. You know, he mentioned he was a prostate. Oh yeah, I had mine taken out 10 years ago. Okay, or you know, you just find guys that kind of come out of the woodwork that you wouldn't have known had you not revealed to them. Have you had that experience at all?
No.
Okay.
I am I'm a walking vault. I keep as much personal information about myself to myself. It takes a lot for me to open up to somebody on a personal level with something that's had, you know, this sort of magnitude on my life.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of close friends, you know, that I'll talk to about it. I don't know if I'm at a point now where I openly talk about it, but I'm getting closer to that.
We feel honored.
The cat's out of the bag, Tony. You're going to be seen by a lot of people now, but we respect that.
But and you're going to help so many people. You're going to help so many people.
That's why we're here, for sure.
So let's talk about some of your writings, some of your work. Tell us. We already know why you're motivated to do this, but tell us about your writing about the prostate cancer experience.
So when Tony and I first met, we realized that we had a lot of similarities in our personalities, but this difference was definitely a distinct one because I'm out there. I want to help people. I know that our vulnerability is a superpower. We can help people. I've been through church youth groups. We talk about sharing our testimony and how it brings people closer to the Lord. We talk about, I know this, I've experienced it. I've shared my testimony, and this is me sharing my testimony about something that just completely knocked me, not just both on our behinds. We did not know what to expect. We realized quickly, I'm a journalist and a marketer. So I'm working in advertising right now, but I've worked in editorial and newspaper and magazine editors. And so I've written it all down. I think the story is important to tell. Everybody's story. Everybody has a story. Everybody goes through something. I realized really quickly in this process that there wasn't a lot of information out there about the couple's disease, because that's really what this is. There's a lot of taboo, but this is something that women and men struggle with. And I realized that there wasn't a lot out there. So I thought, well, I'm just going to start writing things down. And so You Have Arrived was a journal entry that combined to do something powerful for more than just people that are dealing with prostate cancer. Although the numbers are very high, everybody in America is dealing with burnout, and everybody in America has jumped jobs and had to deal with angry bosses. And I use the examples in my professional life and in my personal life to shed a light on how empathy can help, and how sharing your story and being vulnerable can help. And as I started researching, I found some colleagues to help me, and have one friend who wrote a dissertation during her PhD graduation, and she got a doctorate in humanizing psychology. So she's trying to bring home these really beautiful concepts that really make them tangible and effective. And how can we bring these obtuse ideas into our societies? And there's been so much research that's been done throughout the COVID-19 epidemic or pandemic. There was so many really awesome studies done that I referenced. And I just think, I wanted to put something down that was inspired by prostate cancer, but on the other end of that, hopefully the people that are able to get their hands on the stuff I've written down can learn something from them. And I've gotten really good feedback on my blog too. I feel like prostate cancer has been an adventure, and the roller coaster is still going, but it's kind of cascaded into a slow deep dive, and we're starting to kind of come out of it. And I wrote my book in 10 months, and then I kind of.
What's the name of the first book you wrote?
It's called, you're not going to believe this name, but it's called You Have Arrived. The same thing that's on your GPS when you pull into a place you want to go to. I was driving around a lot, and what I realized in visiting all of my friends, because I just needed a different perspective, and I thought, well, I'm going to go visit my girlfriends, because I didn't have many there in that area. So I had 4 or 5 really good girlfriends that were in the state of Florida. I thought, I'm just going to go on a little road trip. And what I realized is everybody was going through something. Everybody had their own, disease, and they were dealing with it. And as we get later in life, things start breaking down. Our families start breaking down. There's just, everything gets more compounded. And I wanted to listen to their stories. So I shared my friends' stories in my book, which was a lot of fun to, just to figure out what they were doing and where they had been in their lives and where their life had taken them. And it, you guys know, as we get older, people are losing children, people are losing their family. There's diagnosis is happening. There's houses that are being burned down or washed away. And it's just, life goes on, and it gets hard sometimes, but you just really need those people around you, whether those be social workers or therapists or good friends or family, that can help. So You Have Arrived is the first book. It came out last February, and we're working on the couple's disease. And that might be a year in the making. That might be 5 years in the making. We don't really know.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like this video to keep seeing more content like this from us. It will also benefit YouTube's algorithm, helping to introduce our content to others who may need it most.
Tony, so I want you to tell the listeners, I know you've gone through a lot in a very short period of time. So we always want to feel hopeful. So tell the listeners, where are you now in your prostate cancer journey?
Well, they won't say the word, cancer-free or remission or any of that until your PSA has been right around 0 for 5 years. So I think I've got at least 3.5 or 4 years left until that happens. I don't know.
You're talking about your PSA level, right? 0.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm through the androgen deprivation injections, although that it's still in my body. Can't wait until it's out of my body, so that I can, try to return to normal, whatever normal might be. But I'm in the recovery mode. So I'm, because of the side effects, no testosterone, shooting your cholesterol up, your glycemic index up, it makes you gain weight. So, I'm finally at a point where I'm, kind of gotten through the storm of all the treatments, and now I'm trying to build my body back. I'm trying to, lose weight and get my glycemic index down, get my cholesterol down. I've got, the radiation gave me some back issues. I'm working on that. It's burned me up in other places, trying to, repair that. I did a 100-hour water fast to try to water fast so I can try to regenerate stem cells to go, through my body and try to do some repair that way. So I'm just in the repair phase right now, trying to build myself back.
Okay. And is there a time frame that you could get the ADT out of your body?
No one knows.
No one knows.
It's different for everybody. They told me, I should. They guesstimated 3 months after my last injection, but I think we're almost triple that right now. Maybe at least double that, and it's still in my system.
And you have to understand that the testosterone will come back gradually. They can't give you testosterone treatments. You can't take testosterone supplements because that would feed the cancer that could potentially still be in his body. So we've got to just let the ADT kind of work its way out of his system. And he's at what, 130 now, testosterone?
Yeah, I'm no longer a chemically castrated male.
Oh, nice. Yay. Yay.
Not in sick anymore. But, he is. I noticed that, as his testosterone has started to come up, I've noticed a really big change in his ability to communicate and his ability. Well, now that he's not having constant hot flashes, he might want to hold my hand and cuddle a little bit.
Okay.
Which is good. Knowing what we've been through and seeing where we're at now and the decisions we've made, because whenever you get a cancer diagnosis, it puts your priorities on check. So we've decided we've done probably a 180. We've really changed the way we look at the world and where we spend our time and our priorities. And we've moved out of a state that we didn't have support in, and we've moved into a more supportive area where we've got more family here. It's been really transformative, and time will tell. We're still trying to kind of get our bearings here, trying to do the things we need to professionally to provide for ourselves, and the things that we need to do to add to our relationship. And so we're a different couple now in so many ways.
I'm just thinking, I'm hearing from the human vault, as you say. This is probably the most revealing conversation that you've ever had about your condition with anyone. Would I be correct in saying that, Tony?
I mean,
other than your children and your family.
Other than the kids, yeah, my family and a couple of close friends, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to play amateur psychologist here and say that's a gigantic move, I think. Okay. The fact that, you're willing to come on here and tell your story and express your feelings openly to the public, where you weren't doing that before. Hats off for Shannon. I can imagine there was some back office prompting that took place to get you to do this. I'm just going to guess.
30 seconds prior.
Say again.
30 seconds prior.
Okay. You mean she didn't give you more than 30
No,
seconds?
no, 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 no. He was on the fence up until 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I could tell you were like really excited when we first got started. I was going to tell Shannon, could you calm him down a little bit? But I want you to know that I recognize that, and I want to acknowledge that and thank you. Okay,
Thank you. Yes.
for doing that. That's a big deal. The couple's disease. That's the book that's coming out that you're working on. I do want to hear from you on one other topic, Shannon, and that is for other women, wives, partners, significant others that are going through this. What would you say to them? What advice would you give them?
Take time out for yourself and realize that there's two people in this relationship and you both have cancer and you both deserve compassion and you cannot be everybody's everything. So find the people in your life that know you best and get as close to them as you possibly can.
We have a few friends that we've confided in personally, in addition to the podcast, and some of them, some of the ladies are going through the caregiver experience. And what I say to them is, put your own mask on first, okay? Because if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not mentally and physically taking care of yourself, go get your nails done, go to lunch with your girlfriend, go to a movie, get to yourself, read a book, whatever you need to do to get the pressure off of yourself and take care of yourself. And that way, the more effective you are, the more successful you are in taking care of yourself, the better caregiver you can be to your significant other. And I can't say that without giving my wife her props throughout this whole exercise or this whole experience. She's been like a steady rock. Thank God, my condition was caught early, so I didn't have to go through ADT or anything like you guys did. But, hats off to the caretakers and hats off to Tony for doing this. We love having you here. We love you sharing your experience. And we know that we're going to stay in touch with each other. Do you have any final thoughts or questions that you'd like to ask of Shay and I before we depart?
I mean, thank you for that. It's beautiful. And thank you for being on here. He was very reluctant. And I said, we've already written a book about it. We're getting ready to write a second book about it. We just want to help people. We want to be able to be, somebody that can say, this is kind of what the roller coaster looks like, because it's not an easy journey and it can be easier. I blogged a lot about the different things that helped us in our marriage. So I just recommend that you can just Google the Prostate Wife and find us, find our blog there. That was, I felt like I wrote that for about a year and a half. And then I reached a point where I was like, I have no more advice to give because there are certain things that really helped. Dancing was good at a couple points. And then his body started like breaking down. He's like, that hurts. Traveling was such a gift. And if you can afford to do it, make time to travel because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Yeah. We tried to really, despite the hot flashes and the lethargy, we tried to really get out of our comfort zone because we needed that. We needed to have something to look forward to because it's awful. And to be able to have those trips to look forward to really sustained us.
Shay, party thoughts?
No, I just want to thank you guys. I mean, I'm like Tony. I know I could tell that you were probably a little reluctant, but you're going to help so many people. And I am so appreciative. And I thank you so much for coming on, you and Shannon, to share your story. Trust me, it's worth it. And people will be blessed and helped through your experience and your testimony. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
The study medicine in the MEVPRO clinical trials is designed to block the abnormal EZH2 activity in cells. With the study medicine's help, the abnormal EZH2 no longer promotes cell growth, and the flow of traffic returns to its normal state, and tumor growth is delayed or prevented. The goal of the MEVPRO clinical trials is to determine whether this study medicine, taken as tablets by mouth, is safe and effective. During these clinical trials, you will have regular visits to the study site, and your health and cancer will be closely monitored by medical professionals. You may experience side effects from the study medicine, such as diarrhea and fatigue. More information will be provided during the informed consent process.
To find out more information on the guest you just heard or previous guests and a list of Prostate Cancer Real Talk episodes, visit our website, prostatecancerrealtalk.com. And if you have a question, comment, or if you would like to share your story, send Elle and Shay an email, ellandshay@prostatecancerrealtalk.com. That's LEL and Shay, SHAY, at prostatecancerrealtalk.com.